Let me at the outset express my heartfelt gratitude to His Holiness Patriarchal and Metropolitan Leonid for coming to our rescue and hoover us under his bosom and omphalion after being tormented and mistreated by the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate of Alexandria for so long. Here in Malawi, myself and other 13 priests decided to shift from Patriarchate of Alexandria to Russian Orthodox Church due to various reasons, of which some of the reasons were that our leaders, they were selfish, arrogant, full of nepotism or segregation, enriching themselves by squandering the church money and resources, intimidations and threats, mistreating African clergy, the laity, and the faithful as well, like as if we are not human like them with the same red blood, poor administration, a thing which have been frustrating and retarding our pastoral and missionary work, even the growth and expansion of the church here in Africa. The major reason among these were that we wanted to save our souls and protect our faith from spiritual danger and calamity of association with the schism which occurred in Ukraine, which was fully supported by the Patriarchate of Alexandria, a thing which is extremely contrary to the canons of the church. Due to this, we suggested that it was good and proven better for the Russian Orthodox Church to come here in Africa so that we should be freed from such captivity and we can serve God in spirit and in truth and keep on holding true and correct the faith of this holy Orthodox Church. So the coming of this new jurisdiction of the Russian Orthodox Church here in Africa, a number of Africans will benefit a lot in terms of spiritual life, developmental side, humanitarian side. I would love to humbly request my fellow Africans to give full support to this newly established jurisdiction for the Russian Orthodox Church for the betterment of the Church of Christ and society as well.
I'm blessed to take this opportunity to say something about the opening of the jurisdiction of the Russian Orthodox Church on the continent of Africa. Actually, this jurisdiction came at the right time when it was needed by all African people themselves, both priests and faithful. Since the Russian Orthodox Church Patriarchate of Moscow opened this jurisdiction, life of Orthodox people and priests started to improve. African Christians are getting education support, health insurance, and of course the spiritual guidance. We African people and priests appreciate the decision made by the Holy Synod of Moscow to contribute to Africa spiritually, morally, and socially. I personally decided to join the Russian Orthodox Church Exarchate of Africa because of two reasons. One, the Church of Alexandria supported the separation of the Church of Kiev from the Patriarchate of Moscow. It is too sad. It is abomination. Reason two, the Westerns colonized Africa pretending to evangelize it. Our ancestors faced the problem of the slave trade done by the Westerns. See, for example, the genocide against the Batutsi tribe in Rwanda. 1 million of people perished before the Western powers and churches. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
I've been asked to give some sort of idea of why I decided to leave the Patriarchate of Alexandria and to join the Exarchate for Africa of the Moscow Patriarchate. I have to give something of a bit of my history to help explain that. I discovered Orthodoxy in the early 90s, and I lived in Cape Town, but there was only one Greek church there where I certainly didn't feel very welcome. And I discovered that there was a church of the Orthodox Church in America which was functioning in Johannesburg with the permission of the local bishop. And so I used to go up to Johannesburg to this Church of St. Nicholas of Japan, and I became Orthodox there. And very soon I realized that I had to in some way try and make Orthodoxy known to our people, my own people, Afrikaans-speaking people who come from mostly a Dutch background. And of course, many of us have a Boer ancestry. And so I started translating a small little prayer book and the liturgy. And I could get no interest from any of the priests there in what I was trying to do, in trying to get something going in Afrikaans in Cape Town. And things came to a point where I just felt I had absolutely no choice. And I went to an old calendar group and was eventually ordained to the priesthood in this old calendar group, never wanting to be outside the canonical church, but I felt I had absolutely no choice. Eventually, after a number of years, Alexandria did accept me, to the extent that I was left to do what I had to do here in Robertson, and I was also asked to come and do a liturgy in English and in Afrikaans on a Saturday morning at the Archbishop's Chapel in Rondebosch. And that I did for a number of years. But it soon became clear that there was going to be no sort of encouragement of any sort of mission work, because the Hellenism of the church was at stake, and that has to be preserved at all costs. The Alexandrian Patriarchate has been in Cape Town for over 100 years, and there's one church in Cape Town, and everybody is expected to go there. All Orthodox people, and there were a handful of Russians and Serbs and other traditionally Orthodox. Everybody had to attend the liturgy on a Sunday at the Greek church. That there was no way that we were going to have Sunday liturgies in any other language. And with the whole Afrikaans thing that I was busy with, it became clear that we were going to get nowhere, and I was feeling really sort of very depressed. I didn't know what to do about it. And then this non-canonical thing between Russia and Constantinople happened, and the Russian Patriarchate decided to get involved in Africa with the African Exarchate, which was a great opening for us. And I had no qualms about it the moment it happened. I thought that was the way out for us. And so it was from a purely missionary point of view that I moved to the Exarchate. What struck me is that the Russian church has always done mission work wherever it was. I mean, a good example is that of what happened in Japan, that there's now a flourishing Japanese church where everything is in Japanese and the hierarchy is Japanese. And I think there's a lot of optimism about what is happening with this Exarchate, because it seems to be that the function of the Exarchate is to develop a local African church where there will be room for everybody, for all the different colors and for languages and cultures, that it can become truly a Catholic church for Africa, a Catholic Orthodox church for Africa.
Extension of the Russian Orthodox Church to Africa is a good step and beneficial to African. Following the recognition of non-canonical Orthodox Church of Ukraine by Patriarch Theodoros II of Patriarchate of Alexandria, in 2019, 27 African priests distanced themselves from his decision after several fruitless attempts to make the Patriarch Theodoros realize his wrong and rescind his decision. He just ignored our request. For this reason, we decided finally to join the Canonical Orthodox Church of Russia, where we have been fully incorporated to continue serving as Orthodox priests under the homophorion of Patriarch of Moscow and all Russia, voluntary and not under any pressure. We declared that we are not prompted by any motive of physical or moral fear. In no way were we coerced by any person. We did that for the sole purpose of saving our soul from spiritual danger of associating with the schism in Ukraine, which the Patriarch of Alexandria entered into communion. At our priest ordination, in accordance and compliance with the Orthodox Code of Canon Law, we pledged to preserve the Orthodox teaching of faith and edify others under the guidance of the only Orthodox Church and the only Father, to protect the soul entrusted to our care from all heresies and schisms.